So Disney at least thinks that it's about to make a comeback. With their upcoming slate of releases from all their departments, there is a lot of confidence coming alongside their other announcement of their first park since Shanghai in the form of Disneyland Abu Dhabi. Obviously, probably been planned for a while now, though I do wonder if the announcement itself is a response to Universal UK getting a lot of press the other week. Wouldn't surprise me. After absolutely dominating the 2010s through their extensive list of IPs, it's fair to say that they haven't quite had the same home run in the 2020s thus far. Whether it's the live-action remakes just getting worse by the year, Marvel overstretching itself and fatiguing its audience, Star Wars becoming a TV-only franchise since 2019, and what I'd call an absolute mismanagement of Pixar and its films. It's been a shaky period for the corporation. However, for the movies anyway, CEO Bob Iger seems fairly convinced that they're about to enter their most profitable year period of releases since before the pandemic, which is a pretty big claim to make. You see, in 2019, Disney had one of the most successful years of any studio before and since. They made around $14 billion, with 7 of their movies making over $1 billion. In no particular order, you had the Aladdin remake with blue CGI Will Smith in there, the not live-action remake of The Lion King, Frozen 2 just absolutely swept up shop, likewise with Toy Story 4, the worst Star Wars movie to date, which still made $1 billion, Captain Marvel, which of course only leaves Avengers Endgame, which pretty much made $3 billion by itself. Say what you want about the Mouse House, but that was pretty damn impressive. And they're pretty lucky they fit all that in before the pandemic happened. I mean, could you imagine if the pandemic was actually a year earlier? Not only would that have been disastrous for Disney, but that 2019 boom would have been felt in the theaters too. If they'd missed out on that final big business year, maybe the theaters themselves would have completely collapsed in the pandemic. It was also the last time that each major studio under Disney had a big hit like that. 20th Century Studios notwithstanding, as they'd literally just been bought out at that time. You had Pixar, Disney Animation, Disney Pictures, Lucasfilms, and of course Marvel, all having huge hits that year. There was a sense of health to each of these different departments, which just doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Not this kind of consistent output running like a well-oiled machine. And there are a plethora of reasons for that. The pandemic is the first port of call, of course. Another reason you can pin a lot of this to also is CEO Bob Chapek, who was left to take over during that time. Obviously not an easy gig, but there's still a lot of blame to be throwing his way. I've covered this guy's business decisions quite a lot, but here are just some of the highlights. Using the pandemic to justify making the next 3 Pixar movies Disney Plus releases to boost the service's profile, when in actuality it was devaluating Pixar as a theatrical studio. That one specifically was a big one that hurt the company financially, but also created conflict within the company, because surprise, surprise, Pixar employees weren't very happy that their movies weren't going to theaters. Like, I get that they were boosting subscribers with it, but with the individual movie not having any price attached to it, you have a total box office of $0. This single decision removed the individual value of Pixar's productions, who only finally had a big hit in Inside Out 2 last year, 4 years later. But now we're just stuck with a bunch of sequels on the way because of the vibe that originals aren't as valuable because of this decision back in 2020. Outside of that big one, you also have the internal drama of Bob Chapek replacing creative people in executive positions with bankers and financial experts. His name does rhyme with paycheck after all. But even then, the company was making so much more money with how it was, yet he tried to pursue making more by removing the thing that was making them money in the first place? Did he seriously think Disney needed more financial experts? After making billions in the box office as well, their approach was, the real money's in Disney Plus. 2019 was not enough, literally. No, because this was a big enterprise for them. Particularly once the pandemic kicked off, a lot of resources from the different studios were going to Disney Plus content, whilst they were also expected to still produce decent quality theatrical movies. Yeah, that didn't work. Instead, they stretched their resources, and whilst a lot of modern Disney has been mediocre even in the 2010s, the overall quality was notably weaker across all departments. Hey there, you've made it to the halfway mark of this video, so come along and subscribe if you want to hear more animated movie news. This is just a checkup on how Disney is doing as a company. But now I'll let you get back to the second half of Disney's plans for a comeback. We'll see. Just like with redirecting Pixar releases, The trouble you face with putting too many movies on the service is they cannot individually make their budgets back. Sure, you can monitor viewership and credit the project with a percentage of the subscriber base, but you're not getting a billion-dollar take from putting a movie on Disney+. As a more comparable scenario, if the other Pixar movies made a similar amount to Elemental, which managed to make $500 million despite everyone saying it was a flop, that's like $1.5 billion worth of movies that they just dumped on there. And more recent data has shown that the best performing movies on streaming are the ones that went out theatrically first. In other words, putting your movies out theatrically first both enables box office revenue and prestige for the individual movie when it goes to streaming, which is why everyone's now doing that. Other than Netflix, they're in firm denial that they'd be better off not doing that. They just want cinemas to die and everyone to stay at home. That's how you get a franchise like Star Wars and have completely prioritized its Disney Plus presence over anything theatrical. In fact, Lucasfilm has a whole mess of things of its own kind that I could probably do a whole video on. Maybe, one day, we'll see. And whilst Disney Plus has become a more stable business now, I don't think he can really take credit for that. Its stability pretty much just came after he was sent off with a big old Chapek. And since then, they have really been in recovery mode. They've had some hits like Deadpool and Wolverine and Inside Out 2, of course, but the overall reputation of the studio has diminished. Everyone thinks Marvel's bad now with the occasional gem, to the extent that the point where everyone was enjoying these movies has been semi-forgotten. Disney Animation just outright can't do original movies anymore, it seems, and then the live-action remakes have basically become a joke at this point, let alone all the Snow White drama where they should have just never bothered making it. And I've already rambled long enough recently about the Lilo and Stitch one. But as disastrous as, say, the Snow White remake was, it may actually represent the cutoff point for the pitfalls, as the plan is to finally start turning things around. Already, we've been hearing solid things about Marvel's Thunderbolts, and there's certainly a start to restoring faith there, with Fantastic Four still to come alongside 2 Avengers movies. And on the Disney side of things, you have, of course, the live-action Lilo and Stitch movie, set to break all sorts of records and become a billion-dollar smash. Is it just me, or did Stitch suddenly become popular again like 2 years ago? Certainly was the right time to respond with a new movie that is currently doing the impossible, and actually giving hype to a live-action remake. Again though, it is weird that both Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon both have live-action remakes when the originals were made by the same guy. Beyond that, you have Disney Animation with Zootropolis 2 on the way. Of course, after the first one being massive back in 2016. Long wait, but here it comes. And then on the Pixar side, I'm hesitant on Elio moving the needle really, but the upcoming slate of Pixar sequels will make a lot of money. Toy Story 5 standing out particularly there. I just hope that they actually are good films, but a depressed thumbs up for the money side of things at least. And to cap it all off, Star Wars is returning to the big screen next year, starring characters from Disney+. What a weird sequence of events that is. You had The Mandalorian kind of save the franchise after the lackluster theatrical movies disappointed, which then led to being a Disney+ only property for 5 years, and now that same character is going to mark its theatrical return. Strange. To say the least, I can see that Disney have a confident slate on the way between now and summer 2026. All of their departments are finally firing on all cylinders again, mostly, and Bob Iger certainly feels like he's starting to turn this ship around. This is an opinion on Disney from the guy at the top of Disney, so I guess he would say that really, wouldn't he? My guess is I'll be surprised by some of this stuff, but a lot of it will be mid at best. That's how it usually goes with Disney after all, doesn't it? But for now, that's at least an update on what the Disney company is thinking is going on. Soon enough, we'll cover the breakdown of Warner Brothers, and I'm pretty sure there's another studio going through some crisis on the side. For now, my name's been Daz. Thank you very much for reaching the end of this video. Do tell me your thoughts on Disney as a brand and where it's going from here. Do you think they're actually turning things around? Is your faith being restored in all these different departments? Or does it just sour you further that they're going to keep on milking their IPs to death? I'd love to hear all your thoughts and more. And I shall see you all in a little bit. Bye-bye!